All right, we are back with Michael Zuber for the Friday financial wrap up. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing wonderful, man. We got a crazy CPI number yesterday. We just got to talk about. There's so many variables we have to digest, understand, and then react to. Yeah, Thursday CPI was a big number, man. It's very important.
We're going to get into it. Today's conversation is for Friday, the 13th, 2023. Let's get right into it. So this week, CPI, headline and core, expectations. What did you see this week? Tell us about what happened yesterday with CPI.
Yeah, so I really want to set this up because people, you need to understand what's happening around you because it is going to cause the market talking heads to say something that I think is misguided. So we have to break all of this down. So when you talk about CPI, there are four numbers we have to talk about. Four: headline and core, month on month, year on year. So headline month on month, headline year, core month on month, core year. So four numbers. So expectations, these are from memory because it was yesterday. Expectations for headline were negative. I did say negative 0.1. That negative number is important because it will be the first negative number in years for headline. And 6.5% was the year on year number. Core, which I keep telling you is more important, more sticky, harder, was expected to be 0.3, and expectations for year on year was 5.7. So those are the expectations. The actuals nailed every number. Every number was right on, not up, down, nailed. So negative 0.1 headline, 6.5% headline, 0.3 month on month core, and 5.7 year on year core. So expectations, reality, or actuals matched. The experts were dead on right. First time in a long time, but hey, they got them. Good for them.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Keep going.
Okay. So that's what we need to understand. Now what's going to happen? I suspect all the talking heads, or at least most of them, are going to be screaming at the Fed. See, I told you inflation is falling. Deflation is here. Cut rates, cut rates, cut rates, cut rates. So that's what they're going to say. And the Fed is going to say, what, are you kidding me? Did you not see that core number? Did you not see that? So again, the talking heads are going to say cut, pivot, pause. In fact, the numbers came out yesterday. So before the print, expectations were for 25 and 50 basis points were the two options. Since the print, within the first hour, 50 basis points has gone away. Now it's 76% chance of 25 and 24% chance of 0. The market is screaming, pause, stop, blah, 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 blah. The Fed's not doing that, Ty. The Fed's going to raise rates. The Fed's going to raise rates 25 basis points February 1st, just like I've been telling you for months now. And they're going to raise again in March, another 25 basis points. And then they might pause. So again, the market's going to scream. I can't wait to read all the articles about how stupid the Fed is and how all their indicators are backward looking and all of that stuff. So again, there's a lot of things going on. The Fed's not going to pause. They're almost done. They're almost there, which is a good thing. Then there's what you and I care about, interest rates.
Yep.
The 10-year note is down like 11 basis points. It's under 3.5. So there is a good chance, and actually I put this out on my daily financial news for Thursday. What are the chances we get sub 6% 30-year money by the end of January?
Yeah.
I think it's possible.
Yeah.
And again, one of my crazy 12 predictions for 2023 was rates would go sub 6, and it may happen even faster than I thought. So again, if rates go sub 6, we have already learned from past June and July that is enough to pull the marginal first-time home buyer off the market. Because if you have interest rates sub 6, you could do mortgage rates, buy down, pay points. You could be sub 5.
Yeah.
Real estate's a different game at those levels. So again, I think there's a lot going on. I think a lot of people are going to be screaming. I think they're going to be wrong. I still think the Fed raises 2 more times, and I think the Fed pauses. They're going to call for Fed rate cuts this year. I don't see it. I want people to keep remembering inflation has three components. There's stuff or goods. That is the stuff that's rolling off. And I would tell you would roll off fast. And this was a month where it rolled off fast. Then there is housing. Even in this report, inside the core number, why was core 5.7? Because housing was up 0.8 month on month. That's, what is that? Like 10% year on year, 9.6% year on year. If you annualize it, housing is a problem. And I told you it was a problem. It doesn't get better until July or August. Again, there's easy, which we're seeing. There's hard, which will roll off by August, and then really, really hard. Jerome Powell is telling everybody that will listen, look at services, look at wages. And that number is still elevated. So again, I stand by my thoughts. We're going to go from 9.1 to 6 really, really quickly. We're going to go from 6 to 4 slowly. It's going to be really, really hard to get sub 4. So I think people are going to look at the headline, see a negative number and go, inflation is over. And Powell, to his credit, is going to go, no, it's not, you idiots. It's not over. We got a lot of work to do. So lots going on there.
Very interesting. And I want to clarify for you at home listening, you at work, you're listening, you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook. When you say the talking heads, that's typically people that are Wall Street stock market oriented. Is that accurate, or is that?
I think it's anybody who gets invited on CNBC, and I think it's all those people you referenced, but also the billionaires. There have been so many billionaires complaining about the Fed, and what happens is we realize that they're swimming naked to steal a Buffett thing. I think it was Barry. I want to say Barry Steinhardt. Anyways, he's the CEO of Starwood. It's Barry something.
Yep.
Something. About 4 months ago, I knew he was in trouble when he brought a PowerPoint to CNBC. I'm like, dude, Barry, that's not a good look. You're a billionaire going over PowerPoint by the Fed's wrong. You're in trouble. Sure enough, within 60 days, his mortgage company went bankrupt. And then like 2 weeks later, he had to stop distributions in his private REIT. So what Barry was telling us is the Fed was hurting his illiquidity. Then you have Elon Musk, who is still, I think, the richest man ever, but the first person to ever lose 200 billion or whatever it was, because he's a car company. And when rates go up, people buy less cars. He was telling you that he has a demand problem, right? He sent those tweets. The Fed must cut immediately. You're just whining because it's hurting your business. So again, it's billionaires also. Billionaires will tell you when they're in trouble because they'll go on CNBC.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So let me ask you, so obviously we talked about CPI, the actuals, the expectations. Obviously, Jerome Powell, still, you believe we're going to see 2 increases, 25 basis points going forward,
Right.
And then maybe leveling off based on what the actual reading is, what CPI numbers look like going forward. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and I think it's really the combination of everything, right? The economy is a complex beast. And I think what you're also going to see, because again, the second raise will be the middle of March.
Yep.
So we're like 2 months from now.
Yep.
I think what will happen by the middle of March is the job market will finally start cracking. On Thursday, yesterday, the unemployment claims came in remarkably low again, and people are losing their mind. But I do think we have incremental layoffs. I do think the unemployment rate, which again in the jobs market last week went down, it currently sits at 3.5%, a 55-year low. I think it starts to tick up. I think inflation continues to come in. And I think by the middle of March, Jerome Powell is going to go, okay, we're going to watch the lag effect, because they will at that point have raised rates 475 basis points. I think he will say it's where we stand at the ready to do more, but we're going to take a pause. And I think that's the beginning of a pause for the rest of the year, which in the housing market is awesome, because once we get the terminal rate, we can start to collapse that margin that banks keep adding. And I think we have rates sub 6 most of the year. It's good. It could be fun.
Which is going to be very healthy for investors. I love it. For home buyers, love it. Okay. So any other thoughts? I mean, just other things that you're thinking about with CPI and with the
I
Fed.
kind of my closing thoughts have not changed, but they'll be drowned out by the masses of talking heads. The Fed is winning. Inflation is coming down. Most of what we've seen to date is the easy part. The easy stuff is over. Housing will take 6 months to come in. Then there's the hard stuff. I think the Fed's almost at a terminal rate. I think from there we can figure out where we go in the housing market. So don't overreact. I don't see a cut coming. I know people are going to be talking about cuts. Again, the number was negative. Headline had a negative 0.1. You're going to hear all these people screaming, time to cut rates, time to cut rate. Deflation is here. Deflation is here. It's not here. It's not here.
Interesting. So let's go back to with interest rates. Let's just talk about what do you see also, just obviously you talked about sub 6, sub 5, all the great possibilities. Maybe just let's touch the 30-year home mortgage for a investor, a one rental at a time investor, and or even somebody that's a home buyer or a home seller who's concerned, is this the time to sell my property? Talk about that.
Yeah. So I think the first couple of things are we have taken 8, 9, 10% mortgage rates off the table, right? There was a time 2 or 3 months ago where I would say it wasn't probable, but it was possible. I think we've seen peak interest rates in this cycle, which I think peaked out about 7.37 or 7.38, something like that. So I think we've seen peak interest rates. That's good news. I think generally speaking, we see rates come down as the Fed communicates they're almost done. Cool. The biggest thing is I think we see banks starting to compete because right now the margin between the 10-year and the average mortgage rate is still above trend. Trend is 170 basis points or 1.7. It's still well over 2. So you're going to see that start to collapse. So I called for it weeks ago that mortgage rates would average sub 6 in 2023. I still feel good about that call. I think there's a chance we get sub 6 in January. I don't think sub 5 is likely as for the standard rate. However, let's not forget, you can pay points. You can buy down the rate. So even if the average rate is 5.83, there will be plenty of people, Ty, that buy the rate in the 4s. You as a buyer can have the seller give you seller credits and get a rate with a 4 on it. That changes the housing market. Affordability is better. First-time home buyers, FHA, VA. Again, that's where I'm playing. We have 2 flips going, and I feel great about it. The first-time home buyer market. So that's what I think about interest rates.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about job market. What do you see? Unemployment, job market. I know you had a unique term where you talked about luxury. You talked about it was a word with regard to recession, the rich.
Oh, rich session. Rich session. Yeah.
Maybe get into the job market and maybe connect the dots there with the rich session.
Yeah. So it's actually something it was coined by someone else. I read it on a CNBC article. I wish I could give them credit. I don't remember their name. Oh, I think it was Mark Zandi. I think Mark Zandi said it. So let's give him credit. Basically what it is it's what I've been calling the white collar recession. And the fact that the Federal Reserve way back at Jackson Hole said pain was coming. I think Jerome Powell is trying to hurt people with assets, which generally speaking are people rich that have assets. The middle class and the poor, they're actually up year to date because they don't own any stocks. They don't own any crypto. They don't own any of these things. So again, their wages are going up. So I think what we're seeing is the employee, the blue collar worker, they're going to win. They're winning. They may not be winning a lot, but I think they win going forward as inflation comes down and their wages go up. So not only do they have nominal wage growth, but they have real wage growth. And I think that's always what I've talked about. I think housing is boring, but affordability gets better with lower rates and higher wages. And what's the other cure? Time. You get 5% wage increase, and you get another 5%, you get 4%, and you have rates sub 6. Pretty soon, housing for first-time home buyers gets affordable. The marginal buyers come off the edges. So I still think we have a white-collar recession. I was one of the first to call it. I think it's tech and finance based. Goldman Sachs just laid off 7 or 8%. BlackRock laid off 3%. Coinbase laid off another 20%. The white collar recession is real, but the good news is there's still a lot of jobs out there. So you may not be making 250 grand a year, but now you're making 180. So I feel good about my calls so far this year.
Yeah, you've been on. We've been going for about 18 months now, and I've got to say that for anybody, you're out there, you're watching this right now, Michael Zuber is a secret weapon. If you're in the real estate game, daily news, Friday financial news is such a gift. So Michael, talk about a soft landing. What could be a soft landing here, and what are your thoughts there?
So what is a soft landing? A soft landing is where we don't have negative GDP. Now, I will admit, 3 or 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I laughed at the idea. If you had asked me and I put it out there, I thought the chances of a soft landing were a ridiculous 2%. Not impossible, but highly, highly, highly unlikely. We're talking 1 in 50 at a 2%. I think it was on Saturday when I kind of looked at what was going on. I'm like, damn, our chances of a soft landing have gone up, and I would say materially up. Now, let's not get it twisted. I've gone from 2% likelihood to 15. So it's not like it's my base case, but let's at least acknowledge it's gone up, what? I don't know, 700%. So again, I don't know that a soft landing is a base case. I still think housing transactions, housing building is in a depression that pulls the country into a recession. But I will have to admit, I think we are in a rolling recession where different industries get hit at different times. And one of the outcomes of a rolling recession is we don't have negative GDP, because when this is bad, this is okay. And when this is bad, this is okay. And I think there's a chance. 15% is a lot better than 2%. And I want to give Powell credit, because I didn't think it was possible, man. But that's, I want to acknowledge that 15 is better than 2%.
Very interesting. Soft landing. Okay, well, we're going to keep an eye out for that. I want to hit one other thing. So we talked about 3 different markets within every market. We talked about first-time buyer market, move-up buyer market, and then the luxury. So I want to ask you, is your opinion still that luxury is going to be soft? Yes or no?
Luxury is destroyed. Luxury will be bad all year. Luxury will not come back until the S&P 500 is at 5,000. Because again, a lot of the rich, the wealthy, have their assets in stocks. And as long as unemployment and job security and the stock market's down, a luxury home is a want. People that want a luxury home, they already have a home. They're not going to be interested in pulling the trigger. I think luxury is bad all year. Interesting.
Now, the move-up market, do you still see that as slow?
It's slow. That one is very interest rate sensitive. If I'm calling high 5s for interest rates, if we got to the low 5s, high 4s, it might come back. But I think that's a 2024 comeback story.
Very interesting. And then last but not least, first-time buyers, the entry-level market. Do you see it as stable or strong? Elaborate.
Strong. Again, I think if you were going to take your market and X luxury, X move up homes, the inventory is just not there. And if the inventory is not there, and as I think more buyers are coming, it's strong. I mean, it just is. And I have proof of that, right? I have a flip that had no activity during Christmas. I got 3 offers in 24 hours. I mean, the move I am 75% of the median price in my market on purpose. There's just no inventory. And I think it stays strong. Now, I'm not calling 20% prices. I'm just saying, if you price it right, it'll sell. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Well, folks, you heard it here. Thank you, Michael, for all that you share. Again, get the book. If you have the book, please go on to Amazon, give this man a 5-star review. I would say for anybody and everybody out there, subscribe. This is the best content. If you're in the real estate game, if you're an agent, If you're a real estate professional, if you're an investor, the one rental at a time is absolutely a channel that delivers. Michael, thank you for all that you do. Have a great weekend. Thank you for all that you share and do.
Thank you, buddy.